Hello and welcome everyone, I am Madals and welcome to some more Heart of the Swarm beta action. And this is take 2 of this video, and I will explain why any second. But first, let me introduce these two players. In the top right position, as the red Zerg player for Team Liquid, it is the little one, it is TLO. And his opponent in the lower left, as the blue Protoss, it is the one, it is the only, it is BabyKnight, who plays for FX Open. He was also a really awesome guy. I've cast a lot of his stuff and he is just generally pretty darn cool. So, those of you probably wondering, why is this take 2 Madals? You record all of your videos first time through 100% without any errors, right? Because you should be perfect, and indeed I hoped that would be the case, but occasionally we all make mistakes, and my mistake was I cast this video and also another one before, and I went to go and post-edit them and make sure that they were all looking okay and things like that, and then suddenly I was, why can't I hear myself on these videos? And I was checking all my XSplit settings, and I was sitting there, I was like, maybe something weird's gone on with the recording, what's up? And then it dawned on me. Now, please don't laugh too hard at me, or don't be like, well, actually you can call me a newbie caster in the comments. I maybe forgot to plug in my microphone. I know it. Yeah, that was probably one of the most embarrassing things I've had to admit in a long time. And I didn't even have to admit it, but I thought if all my viewers can get a good laugh about it, it's probably for the best. So, my microphone is now plugged in. I've got XSplit up, and I've made doubly, triply sure that it's picking it up. I can see the little bar bouncing up and down to the sound of my voice. So, that makes me a lot happier. And it had to be that it was a bit more of a macro game where I didn't hear, but I can now 100% assure you that this game is absolutely fantastic, as in one of the most amazing games I have seen for quite a while. So do stay tuned, do give it a good watch, and your love and attention with these two players would be very much deserved. So I haven't spoken much about the openings because, in all honesty, they weren't that exciting. It was a 14 pull into the third first. We should see this base come down shortly. Meanwhile, for BabyKnight, he went for a Nexus first, followed up by a Forge. The only interesting thing about his build was this pylon up on the high ground. He's going for this wall off where you actually leave a gap between the Forge and the gateway, and you can then just stick the cannon behind it, and you can end up in a very interesting position where actually it's a really tight choke. And if you put the Zealot at the back of the wall, it actually means that only 1 or 2 Zerglings can engage at once, and generally it's just a cool build to do, and it's a nice little wall off actually, so good on BabyKnight for that. Meanwhile, we've got the 2 gas on their way down. That means that there will be enough gas to get out the +1, to get out the sentry once the Cybercore is finished. The timings are all looking good. We've got the second hatch up and running. Now, it was a really early hatch actually. It came down at, well, it was like 3 minutes 40. That is insanely early. Like, that is possibly one of the earliest hatcheries that I have ever seen. Completely bonkers. Like, legit, that is one of the earliest thirds ever. That is complete balls to the wall. Wow, that is cool. Anyway, enough about that cool thing. Ooh, I didn't notice this last time. These two apparently used the resume from replay functionality, replacing themselves. So TLO has been replaced by TLO and BabyKnight by BabyKnight. It would have been, how cool would it have been if they switched? Like, seriously, if you haven't had the joy of playing with Resume from Replay yet, you need to do that, because take command and switching player roles is really, really, really good fun. So, apparently this is the second, this replay was from like the second time through, because BabyKnights, I do new stuff now. So, who knows what they did the first time through? Maybe this game, like, maybe BabyKnight just went for like a DT rush, and TLO was like, no, we're gonna go back before that point, just to see what would happen. So, BabyKnight getting up his third and fourth gas very early on. We've got Warp Gate Tech as well as +1 ground weapons on its way. This could mean that it's going to be some kind of 2-base timing push. It is a strong build. A pylon coming out quite forward though now, as I'm just spotting. That means that, well, it's a hint that it could be a 3rd base. The 2-base plays are still viable with the +1. Sentries are coming out as well. Meanwhile though, up for TLO, he's just droning. He's got 3 queens injecting, and he's got his first 2 gas at around the 50 supply mark. So getting these 2 gas quite late. What he needs to do is get his 3rd and 4th relatively quickly off after this if he wants to reach the same normal teching points. But drone count wise, he's sitting at 44 to 40. Will start taking the lead now just due to the fact that he's got those 3 queens and 3 hatcheries all getting injected, and he's producing nothing but drones for the time being. BabyKnight definitely going for a 3rd base though. Double gateway wall off at the natural, moving the sentries over. No mothership core yet though, and that is quite surprising because if you're going to take this early base, a lot of Protoss players really like getting the mothership core down, and literally as I say that, he starts it because that mothership core gives you the ability to photon overcharge, it gives you the ability to time warp, and also if you want to be aggressive you can use mass recall, which can be very useful indeed. But for the moment we just got TLO, he's getting up his Rotron, he's getting up his evolution chamber, lair starting, all normal timing. You can see that we're at the 8-minute mark now, so everything going to plan for both these 2 players. But what TLO really needs to identify is this base is down, and I'm not sure if that overlord can actually see it. Yes, it can. That is good news for TLO. That means that he started his 4th base in direct response, wanting to stay a base up. So just generally being boss mode and generally being pretty cool. +1 missile attack as well as the 2nd evolution chamber on the way for TLO. And let's talk a little bit about what he could be doing mid-game. Swarm Host Corrupt is good. Roach Hydra, very good as well. And the 2 things I'm looking for if he does go Roach Hydra is whether he starts range or speed first. Because range generally means you're going to be more defensive because you've already got creep spread, so therefore you don't need the speed upgrade and it just allows you to go better. And there is actually the hydrogen coming down, so that is all good news for TLO. He's going to be going Roach Hydra, and if you're going to be offensive you clearly do need the Hydra speed upgrade in order to get across the map and be able to retreat should you need to. Meanwhile though, as we see here for BabyKnight, he's getting up his 2nd forge as well as Twilight Council and the robotics facility. So all in all, he is just getting towards the point where he's going to have all the late game tech. And why might you be thinking he's getting the Twilight Council? Well, it's for Blink, almost certainly. Robotic facility ready to tech towards Colossi, which is what you need. A hallucinated Phoenix coming in there, and seeing that the 4th base is now up and running, this is going to be a direct target for this small force coming across. And now will TLO be able to hold this? He does have some Hydras coming out. He's got a small number of Roaches, and he's moving them up. Is this going to be a distraction? Is he trying to distract these units away? Is he trying to bait BabyKnight back to buy himself some more time? It looks like that was his plan, but he's going to push forward. He's going to get that Zealot. The Zealot, no, it's not going to go down. A lot of force fields being used, though. That reduces the number of force fields available to the Sentry. BabyKnight clearly wanting to try and take down this 4th base. We do have some Hydras about to pop, but damage is going down. A lot more force fields. That hatchery taking off, but here comes the Roaches with the complete surround. A great transfuse going down on that hatchery, keeping it alive, and there is the mass recall. BabyKnight with the meh, TLO with the saved hatch. He is gonna be happy with that. So apparently there was another big pause there. Meanwhile, looking here, we've got BabyKnight happily mining off of 3 bases, up to 66 probes, which is really pretty high compared to the 75 drones. Income wise, that means TLO is a little ahead, but not by that much. Once these 2 gas really start going, it'll make a big difference. A couple of Hydras sacrificing themselves for the cause right now. But what I'm just shocked by is how early this hive is. This is a really early hive, clearly going to be going for Vipers, because Roach Hydra Viper is just a great late game composition, especially once the Colossus start hitting, because you're able to abduct them back in, you're able to start basically grabbing them into the Roach Hydra, sniping them off so you can engage the rest of the force. But 7 more gateways now. Ooh! Templar Archives. This is a great choice by BabyKnight because that Templar Archives means he will have High Templar, he will have Storm. Storm is great against 2 things. Firstly, it's great against Hydras. But secondly, if TLO happen to be going for Swarm Hosts, High Templar and Storm are also a great way to deal with a lot of Locusts very quickly. So BabyKnight just accounting for every possibility, and the reason he can do that is because he's got his 3rd up, he's got a great income, and therefore he is able to just macro. Meanwhile though, TLO, he went for the plus range upgrade first on the Hydras to be defensive. He's now got speed just completed. Extended thermal lance half done, plus 2/2 upgrades on the way out for both players at a similar time actually. But I believe there's chrono boosts coming down, or there were chrono boosts. I know I saw one last time. So BabyKnight just getting those upgrades out, both players going towards the end game. And now look at this. 2 evolution chambers in the center of the map. You might be thinking to yourselves, TLO, Why are you building evolution chambers in the center of the map? But I will reveal all. It is because Vipers can consume, and they are the most cost-effective way to consume get the basically energy up on your Vipers. So BabyKnight taking a 4th, TLO taking a 5th. This is just standard play. An Ultralisk Cavern, TLO. You're going for triple upgrades. You complete baller, getting a +1 melee attack as well as the Ultralisk Cavern. Is this some kind of awesome late game switch? I believe it is, and this could really catch BabyKnight off guard. But for the time being, this is the scary thing for TLO. These High Templar with Storm potentially going to be able to shred through the Hydra force very easily. Even if an Abduct goes down on the Colossi, it will not be able to deal with those storms in time. So it is all up to TLO's positioning. Will he be able to get out of range of those in time? We will wait to see. But now, moving up, BabyKnight extending himself quite a long way. Those Vipers threatening, and now here comes down some Abduct. A couple of Colossi get taken, but a good time warp, a good storm delays how easily those Zerg units can get out. The evolution chambers, unfortunately, going to die. Luckily to the enemy and not to their own forces, though that must be pretty unfun for them. But now, as we see, we have got BabyKnight taking the center of the map very commandingly. But unfortunately, we see great creep spread for TLO, and this is actually amazing. We're only at the 15-minute mark, and he is pretty much spread all the way across the map. There is no attack path BabyKnight can utilize. The TLO won't be able to see the army marching across. So creep spread not only makes you fast, it makes you very aware of what's going on around you. In terms of units coming out, we have got 4 more Hydras in production. That's the already one that is there. More Vipers are out. The top left base getting a few Spine Crawlers. And the reason you don't see huge Spine Walls, which we're used to in Wings of Liberty ZvP, is because this Roach Hydra Ultralisk force is so much more mobile than Broodlord Infestor. And as such, you can actually get back to defend relatively quickly. So anything short of a massive push up here for BabyKnight, which of course TLO would know about because the creep spread, wouldn't be that effective. So really all this has to defend is a small Zealot warp in, maybe some DTs or something. So could really do... Oh, there is a Spore Crawler there. I was going to say could do with a Spore Crawler as I see it. So yeah, this is just great play. We've got Gravatic Boosters coming out. We've got Charge coming out. We've got +3 armor about to complete for BabyKnight, as well as getting +1 shields now. Additional gateways coming down. Meanwhile for TLO, he has got the 3/3 upgrades on their way. He has got the +2 melee attack upgrades coming down. So these two are just upgrading literally everything they could. TLO even gone up to 216 of 200 using either mass spine or mass spores. I didn't see either of them chucked down. I was probably off talking about something else, but of course that just means that this force very large. Looking at army supply, 136 to 127. The Roach Hydra's trying to clean out these rocks, because if you get these rocks down, force probes become less effective. Meanwhile, Zealots coming in towards the 4th base. We see those Spine Crawlers are tanking a lot of damage, but we had some good transfuses though as well. Meanwhile, the Zealots are trying to pick away at the hatchery, but it does just survive. The Ultra's getting there. Ace in time, 42 health remaining on that hatchery. TLO got a little lucky there. BabyKnight unfortunately rolling the wrong numbers on the dice right there. Meanwhile, behind this, we've got TLO getting up the Spire. He's got +3 carapace. He does have the Ultra Armor upgrade complete as well, but he's now moving forward. And does BabyKnight have enough to defend this? Well, he's got the 3 Colossi. Spread them out well. The Stalkers are going to have to do very well indeed, but the Vipers are threatening. Are there going to be any good Abducts? The High Templar are sitting around somewhere. There are the Storms. Some great blinding clouds as well. The Abducts grab 1 or 2 of those Colossi near instantly. That was awesome. Meanwhile, the Mothership Core also getting grabbed there, and as such, TLO did some good damage. He lost a lot less than his opponent right there, but now going in for wave 2, and those Storms are absolutely amazing. Those are incredible Psionic Storm, dealing so much damage. All the Ultras bar 1 have now been taken down. The Vipers took a lot of damage, and feedbacks I believe hit as well. And as such, TLO now remaxing on 8 Ultras. He's got his Spire nearly complete, but BabyKnight coming in for some counter aggression, but he won't be able to punch through. Both players sitting with a really nice bank, 3,000 and 2,500 gas for BabyKnight compared to just under 4k and 1.5k minerals gas for TLO. So they can both afford to trade, but let's just have a quick recap of what happened there. We saw TLO push in with those Ultras. He did some great damage just wanting to go straight through. The Hydra's behind, but the key thing were the Vipers. They got some great Abducts down on the Colossi and also the Mothership Core, but that wasn't all. They chucked down some amazing blinding clouds, preventing the Stalkers from being able to engage effectively, and therefore TLO took very little damage while dealing an awful lot himself, and actually looking here, only losing 600 more resources than that of his opponent. All in all, this game is now very close. It comes down to who has a better income, and it's actually near identical. 75 drones to 73 probes. More spines coming down to this top base here, making sure it's safe. TLO desperately trying to secure this front base, but I believe that the Zealot and Observer have now spotted it, and therefore, even if TLO comes to defend, he's going to be putting himself at a risk, because if he overextends himself, BabyKnight could push down the other side of the map. BabyKnight just with incredible map control, harass one side, push the other. Precisely what you want to be doing as a Protoss player against a Zerg. But the Ultras coming around. These Ultras do need to be a little bit careful. There isn't two Immortals there. They are going to start dealing some good volleys of damage. But as long as they're fine, these Ultras should be okay. But they could do the support of the Hydras. Meanwhile, we do see that there is that hatchery getting chipped away at. Meanwhile, we've got the Hydras, a little stealth force of Hydras. Meanwhile, the Ultras are trying to engage in the center here. Some more blinding clouds, not quite as well on the money, but a couple of the Archons aren't going to be able to get in on this action. Meanwhile, the Hydras dealing some great damage to this fourth base. Will the Nexus fall? That is what I'm waiting to see. The Ultras have been forced back for the moment. That means BabyKnight is coming back with the rest of this army. These Hydras, unfortunately, getting a little bit out of position. They do manage to snipe off an Archon, though. That's always good if you get a unit like that. Meanwhile, no cancel hits on this hatchery. TLO, obviously not in money problems, but you want to be getting those cancels whenever you can. It's otherwise just losing resources for nothing. Meanwhile, we have got these Hydras finally getting cleaned out. Up at the top though, BabyKnight pushing with some Zealots, and a couple of those Ultras getting very low on health. Transfuses desperately needed for them. Looking back in the main base though, the Greater Spire is complete. The second Spire up, we've got the double air upgrades back for BabyKnight. I'm sure I saw a Stargate in production somewhere. Maybe I was no, I was not imagining things. The Fleet Beacon coming down as well. An additional 3 Stargates. That takes up to 4 gates with the Fleet Beacon. Are we going to see Tempest? Are we going to see Carrier? Both would be a great way to deal with these Ultras. The Tempest probably best though. And well, a big Zealot push coming up to the top left base. Did TLO spot it with his creep spread? I believe he did, because he's pulling those Ultralisks already. He is running straight up there. Will the Zealots be able to take it down in time? I don't know for the time being. There's a lot of damage being done. The Spine Crawlers are falling, but with the Ultras here now, they should be able to clean up this Zealot force. And BabyKnight now forces back, but did manage to do a good amount of damage. TLO has seemed to have lost quite a bit here, and we can see from the units lost that it's actually just under 16,000 compared to 12,000 for BabyKnight. That's the sort of trading that you want as a Protoss player. Meanwhile though, TLO, he is just happily mining off of 5 bases now. He's got a good force. He's getting some Broodlords out as well, and those Broodlords are going to be critical. We just saw 4 Voidways pop for BabyKnight. He's also now switching into getting Tempest, and oh no, they didn't pop. He cancelled them, instead going for Tempest. I don't know if he saw, he hasn't seen the Greater Spire, so I'm not quite sure what triggered him to switch that up, but as we see now, these Roaches trying to do a little bit of damage, but Stalkers and Archons and Colossi coming back to defend. The Zealots going back up towards the top left base. Where are the Ultralisks? Well, there's just mass spores being made to go to 215 of 200, but without any units here, with all the Ultras sitting back between the third and natural, I just don't think it's going to get back in time without the Spine Crawlers in order to help defend. This hatchery definitely going down now. Meanwhile, BabyKnight is pushing up the right. He's harassing one side, pushing the other, exactly as we saw earlier, and this is precisely what he should be doing. And TLO, while he's got a good standing army, he needs to engage very well indeed. These Zealots, unfortunately, walking their way to their deaths, om-nom-nomming through those Ultras, and well, Ultras are hungry, hungry hippos, and they need a lot of food, and Zealots are one of their favorites, second only to Probes. So, Tempests are out. We've got +3 shields on their way down. My goodness, these two are upgrading everything. That's against 3-3-3 for, oh sorry, 3-5 for the Ultras, as well as the +3 missile attack already done. Air weapon upgrades +1 about to finish up. These Tempests are going to be so important, and there's, oh my goodness, there's hardly any anti-air for TLO. He's only got 2 Corruptors and 5 Hydras. Those Tempests are just going to be able to go completely to town with no way to really take them out. The Infestors could get some fungal wounds and some couple of Infestors turn. Some blinding clouds are trying to hit the Broodlords, focusing down those High Templar, but the Storms are absolutely great. BabyKnight is trading very well here. Those Broodlords are just melting to the Tempest. So much damage being done here. The Ultras just running around any which way, trying to come down to this fourth base, but all the Broodlords have now been taken out. BabyKnight, that was such a good trade for him. He's warping in a couple more Zealots. Meanwhile, the bottom right base is getting attacked by 2 Ultras, but 13 Zealots getting warped in order to deal with that. Well, we can see now TLO at 180 supply, remaxing on Hydras in order to try and deal with these Tempests, but there's just such a good gateway support for these units that I'm not sure if that is going to be enough. The well, those Hydras are going to have their work cut out. There is 39 of them, and they are 3-3, but as we can see, there is just a huge number of Zealots, a good number of Stalkers, and of course 8 Tempests now on the field, melting through everything. They have just got such incredible range. They are a bit squishy though, so you need to be careful if the Hydras are able to get underneath, but now with 7 Archons morphing, that is going to massively help. Some Storms would be great as well though for BabyKnight. That would really cut through this force. Meanwhile, TLO had tried to take a 6th base, but we see now Zealots are having none of those shenanigans. They are going to shut this base down oh so quickly. They are 3-3-3, and as such, this is super late game. We're at the 28-minute mark, and well, this has been back and forth for a while now, but looking at the resources lost tab, over 10,000 more resources lost by TLO than BabyKnight, and he has not been mining that much more. BabyKnight actually mining more than his opponent now with the 75 probes, but a small hit force of a couple of infested Terrans and a couple of Hydras are going to town on this bottom right base, but you know what? It's not enough damage quickly enough before the Protoss force comes back down here. Trouble for BabyKnight though is he is pinned now down to the bottom right corner, and his force isn't that quick with the Tempest, but TLO not really trying to punish it. No attack up here. A couple of idle workers. Maybe that idle worker button is too hidden after all. But what we see is these Hydralists trying to engage a good number of Zealots, but the reinforcements will mean that the BabyKnight has to get back out of here. A few Zealots are going to go down for free, and the Hydra's just dealing oh so much damage oh so quickly. Meanwhile, BabyKnight, he's coming back in. He's defending. He's in the center of the map where he wants to be. He's got +2 air weapons coming down. He has got 8 Tempests, 7 Archons, and 10 High Templar. That is a lot of Storms, a lot of tankiness, and a lot of siege damage from the air. So, all in all, we've got BabyKnight looking to be in a good spot. TLO is maxed out though, but he's only got 32 Hydras, 7 Vipers, and the 2 Ultras. I just don't know if he's got enough to do this. This army for BabyKnight just looks oh so strong, and as such, a couple of good Storms could absolutely ruin TLO's day. Getting the vision from the Watchtower, allowing the Tempest to engage at their insanely high range, and as such, the Zealots are just going to be able to march straight on up into the main base. There is so much key tech up here. The Ultra Cavern, the Greater Spire, the Hive, and Infestation Pit. But now we just see some Storms are hitting. We have got BabyKnight just holding the map. He knows that if TLO comes back to try and defend, he is going to be able to cut him straight down the middle. Meanwhile, the Zealots have managed to take out the Ultra's Cavern. One getting rebuilt, though, by TLO as quickly as possible. The Hive is taking a huge amount of damage, and unfortunately the building all come together. The Ultralisk is too big, and is the Hive gonna survive? The answer is no. It gets taken down very quickly. Meanwhile, in the center of the map, we do see that BabyKnight trying to push forward. Some good abducts going down, but a great blink forward allows some of those Vipers to get sniped off by the Stalkers. The Archons do still remain. Some more Storms hitting. TLO in a full retreat. He's got those 3 Ultras there, but there was just such a large force. More Storms hitting, a bit lackluster, but there is an absolutely great Storm, and I think with that, TLO is going to be forced to GG out because he has got nothing there, and indeed, there goes down the GG. My goodness, that game was absolutely spectacular. I hope you all enjoyed that as much as I did, and well, those two did put on one brilliant show. So thank you very much for watching, everyone. Like the video, leave a cool comment, and of course subscribe, and I hope to see each and every one of you tomorrow for yet another new cast. Thanks for watching, and bye for now.